Good catch.
Oh,
Good evening. Good evening. If everyone will have a seat, we'll get our lively celebration off to a good start this evening. If you have a phone, an iPad, a device, or anything that would ring, chime, or play us a song, please turn it on silent so that we can get through this good council meeting this evening. With that, thank you for joining us. The council will stand for the pledge, and Ronnie, will you give our invocation? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, as we bow before you today, we want to thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for being able to be raised and born in a great country. We pray that you be with us tonight, guide us, direct us, give us wisdom to conduct the town's business. We give you the praise and glory for it all in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. It's wonderful to see so many smiling faces. All right, council members, you have received the June 23rd and July 14th council meeting and workshop notes and minutes. Does anyone have any changes, additions, deletions?
I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you so much. Public comment. Pursuant to Section 2-46 of the Code of Ordinances for the town of Fort Mill, any citizen of the town may appear before council for the purpose of providing public comments on any municipal matter except personnel matters. Those who wish to speak must sign in outside of the council chambers prior to the start of the meeting, and citizens will be given 3 minutes each to speak. Do we have any?
We do not.
All right. This first one I'm going to come forward for. So in a perfect world, I would have on a suit and heels and all that good stuff. But in an imperfect world, we work before we come here. So please forgive me because this is much more of an elegant presentation than I want to give. So, how do you measure success? A great job? A good salary? You've raised a family? Be considered a leader, a good person, a grand slam. I always wanted a couple of those. Hole in one. How about positively affecting thousands of lives? That's pretty lofty, isn't it? Promoting self-worth, achievement, individuality, music, art, science, technology, sports, academics. The list is unlimited. Being a role model that cares, guides, and encourages and works to make all possible for children and adults. That's Chuck Epps. We celebrate the life and gifts of Chuck tonight. He has given completely of himself, and I know that, to help shape our future through a school district that everyone wants to work for or attend. The Fort Mill School District's success is directly due to his leadership. It is a crown jewel in our community. I've known Chuck almost all my life. He's a tiny bit older than I am, but not much. He's a blessing and a valued, beloved friend. Tonight we will present to Dr. Chuck Epps in recognition of your exceptional leadership, dedication, and unwavering commitment to the students, families, and future of the Fort Mill community. Your legacy of outstanding service as superintendent of the Fort Mill School District will be felt for generations to come. With appreciation, gratitude, and best wishes in your retirement, the town, our staff, our community, and our children want to say thank you. I would give you the key to the city, but you'd give it back. So with that, would you come up and let us all give you a round of applause and heartfelt love. friend says he doesn't deserve all this, but he really does, and then some. So with that, I am so grateful to know that Chuck is still there if I call, and he would always do whatever was needed to keep our town the place we grew up in, right? Don't make me cry.
No.
Here's a plaque and a few nice little tidbits to remind you Fort Mill loves you.
Yeah. Can I say a word or two?
Please.
I'm deeply honored, town council, not city council. I know the difference between TK and town council.
It's not just that.
Well, love them both. But I am deeply honored. Like I told the mayor, I do know, and I've told Christy and all our board, I don't deserve all this. It's like I've said in many settings, it's the people in this room and the people that we have in place in the school district that make this place so special and make it succeed. I just put them in the right seats on the bus. And I will say our relationship with the town has been special. I go back several mayors. I can go back to Charlie, Danny, Gwen. Am I leaving anybody out in my lifetime? Yeah, well, that was a kid. Yeah. And I think it's imperative. There's two things we deal with: the town and the school district. People's money and their taxes. So it's real important that we're dealing with precious commodities, and we both contribute to the quality of life. And it's just imperative, I think, that we work together and have the great relationships that we do. We're just kind of hooked together at the belt, and there's nothing. We just need to do good work together, and I'm proud of that. I think we've had a great relationship with the town, at least from the school district's perspective. So that's all I got. But I want to thank the board and the staff that are here and the people that bothered to miss supper and come tonight.
Absolutely. We love you. It's not fair to make an old woman cry at the front of the end of the meeting.
Well, Mayor, now that he's retired, I think we should add him to our volunteer list. He's got some free time. So
He's a smart man, Chris.
I think we could use him.
He's going to enjoy his time. All right, we had a presentation to recognize the Fort Mill Parks and Recreation 12U flag football and all-star team. They were finalists in the state competition. They were unable to be here this evening, but we still want to say congratulations. Many of you might remember it's only been a couple of years, and there's our team, since the Fort Mill Parks and Rec Department sponsored the national champions in baseball. So our folks in Parks and Rec do a great job and work really hard to ensure that our kids get the best chances they have to do this type of work. So congratulations to the state finalists. Presentation number 3, Mina McDonald will present Stormwater Summer Internship Program presentation. As they come forward, I'd like to mention, it won't be the first time I've mentioned it, but it's important. Last year's program, we actually had someone that was an intern that had her whole career mapped out, but because of her internship, she made a decision to change her major and has gone into environmental protection. And we're just so proud of the influence and the leadership of our division as they make that impact, and on all of you young people that are getting out there and helping with this program. Mina?
Well, I just want to say it's always a pleasure every summer. It's a new group of kids and new dynamic, and it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to continuing this program in the future. But this has been a great group. We are down one. He is not with us tonight. Eduardo's not here. He's our high school graduate who's going off to Clemson in the fall. But I'm going to let each of the kids come up and introduce themselves. So you got to say your name, say what grade you're going into, and what school you're at, okay? And then you guys can take it away.
Good evening. My name's Hannah Dean. I'm going to be a junior at Catawba Ridge High School.
Good evening. I'm Zachary Thomas. I am going to be a senior at Nations Ford.
Good evening. I'm Hudson Tubner, and I'm also going to be a senior at Nations Ford.
Excellent.
I'm Maggie Wakefield, and I'm a rising junior at Nation Ford. I'm Riley Condon, and I'm going to be a rising junior at Catawba Ridge.
Okay. Just wanted to thank you guys again for having us. To start off, we're going to go over just all the things that we got to experience this summer by being part of the Stormwater Internship Program. Our first ever field trip was when we went to Rock Hill Stormwater and Operations Center. We were taken on a tour of their vast facility, and we were introduced to a lot of different people with many different professions. We learned how the different branches in the Rock Hill Stormwater and Operations Center work together to effectively communicate and make projects together. Next, we went to Dye Branch and we did a creek cleanup. This was near a water goat and removed over 10 pounds of plastic and trash, and we got really wet.
Next, we did 3 different events where we invited kids and parents to come and learn about pollution and how it affects our environment. We had games and a storyboard along with free cone of ice to, make people come and also help them enjoy the process of learning about pollution. We're actually doing another one this Wednesday at Harris Street Park. Anyone can come and, learn about pollution. So far, we've had 205 people come, so that's just remarkable to me. Hopefully, we can increase that number a little bit, though. Thank you. Or wait, no. Sorry. We also went with local volunteers for Adopt a Stream. We learned how they monitor streams to see how healthy it is, including how they use bugs, macroinvertebrates, and just the clarity and contents of the water to understand the stream and keep it healthy.
We also went to the Rock Hill Water Filtration Plant, which, whilst we were there, we learned about how they take the water from the Catawba River and they clean it to a point where it is safe and drinkable for people, and how they dealt with the trash there. So taking water out of the trash, taking the trash out of the water, taking anything bad out of the water, so it was safe and drinkable. We also went to the Catawba Nation, where we learned about the invasive plants that were growing along the riverside and how they were damaging the river, and how there are plans to use river cane to help combat that.
Another field trip we went on was with the Fort Mill Stormwater, where we looked at the stormwater and water systems in the town. Each day of the week, we went with a different member of the team to see what they do on a daily basis, and we saw how water was supplied to completed and ongoing projects in the town and how they maintain the pipelines after construction. We also looked into the water tower and how the water meter works, and saw how they are used to track the water coming from Rock Hill to Fort Mill. We also went to the Fort Mill wastewater treatment plant, and while we were there, we saw how they clean contaminated water. We saw how they use water filtration membranes and aeration basins along with UV light to clean contaminated water. And it was very shocking to see how they make the water so clean and clear to put it back into the Catawba River without the use of chlorine like they do in Rock Hill.
Another field trip we went on was to the landfill and recycling center. So first we went to the recycling center where they showed us a video on the different things that can and can't be recycled, which was really interesting for me because I feel like it's different in different places. And even for me personally, I sometimes struggle knowing what I can and can't put in my recycle bins. We also saw their machines they have, and we also saw where their workers individually pick certain things out from the recycling. We learned about how the different towns can get fined if their recycling does not fit their standards, which I hadn't realized before. So after we went to their center, we also went and saw their landfills and how they compress down the trash before they cover it. And we saw some that had already been covered, and I couldn't even tell that they were ever landfills. So it was really interesting to see that. We also went to Nation Ford Chemical, which was one of my favorite field trips. I know that some people in our group are interested in chemical engineering, so it was really cool to see practically what their future could look like. I think that's one of the big benefits of this program in general. So it was really cool to see and hear about the different chemicals they produce and how they have some long-term projects that they've had for years, and then sometimes they'll take on a project for just a couple months to produce a certain chemical. One chemical they make is used in jet fuel, and I didn't even realize there was one so close by, so it was cool to see that. So our project we've been working on the whole summer as a team has been to make the stormwater scarecrow for this year. We decided to make the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then we wanted to have them fighting a big trash monster. We kind of decided we wanted to do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because we've seen a lot of pictures of turtle shells made out of recycled trash, and we kind of wanted to do that, but we also wanted to make it interesting and recognizable for people of all ages, so we thought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be a good way to go with that. We haven't finished making the turtles yet, we're still working on them, but we have finished the monster, which you can see in that picture there. We just want to thank the town of Fort Mill management and staff for giving us this opportunity and letting this program continue. And thank you for putting in this effort, and thank you to this school district staff as well who made this possible and connected us with MINA. This program, I've learned so much about what I do want to do in my future and what I might not want to do, and I think it's so beneficial to have this available to high school students because obviously there's a lot of internships for college kids, but I mean, I just have always wanted to see practically what goes on in our town, and I think this is a really good opportunity to do that. So thank you again.
A wonderful, wonderful work by all of you. It takes a lot to get out in this heat.
Yeah.
Do the types of things that you've been doing, and then to recognize the benefit that it brings to all of us. I love our staff. They inspire, but you know what? You kids are amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing, and you make me happy for the future. Council members, what do you say?
Great. I'd say, thank you for getting involved. This is the kind of stuff that gets you up here eventually. Get involved in your community. Find out about it. Find out where you can make a difference, and you'll go far in life. And so thank y'all for investing your summers and schmucking through the mud and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great program, and thank y'all for participating, and good luck in the future.
Thank you.
My husband and I went kayaking on the Catawba on Saturday morning, and it was amazing how clean it was. And I have seen it after the hurricane came through, a lot of trash, a porta-john on the side, a trampoline that was stuck in the trees. I mean, that hurricane did a lot of damage to our waterways, and we'll probably be cleaning up for many, many years from it. So thank you for going out there and doing the hard work and doing the grunt work that a lot of people don't want to do, because it was beautiful out there. We saw an eagle within the first 30 minutes of being in the water, and it was so peaceful. So thank you for what you guys did this summer, and I do hope you learned where you want to go or different career paths you may want to take as a result of this. Also was curious, did anybody drink the water after it went through the filtration system? They've told us you could. Nobody?
We did not.
I
don't even remember being offered that, so.
Neither one of us, none of us have done that either. So.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I would like to tag on to something Lisa said. Yeah, the hurricane did damage. Nature itself can be very damaging, but nature can't hold a candle to the damage that we as humans do. If you put trash out on the street or throw it out of the car or let it tumble off the back of your truck, it gets in the storm drains. It ends up in the places that you guys are going out there and cleaning. Our guys are going out there and cleaning. It's terrible for the environment and the habitat. We are the worst. And I really respect and appreciate the effort you put into this. It matters to us all.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Susan Brackett. I'm with the Fort Mill School District. I just want to thank MINA. It takes an amazing mentor like MINA to manage wonderful kids. Now, granted, you're not like tough to manage. But thank you, MINA, because it wouldn't be possible, right, without her.
Yeah, thank you, Mina.
Let's give them all a big round of applause. Thank you so much. In another very interesting presentation, we're going to hear from the Fort Mill Economic Partners about Micro Transit Pilot Program. We're terribly excited to hear this information. Hi, Mariah.
Hello. It's hard to follow up that presentation. But thank you guys for having us tonight. I'm Mariah Price with Fort Mill Economic Partners. I have here David Bust, one of our board directors, and one of the liaisons for our subcommittee for this project. But we're here tonight on a specific project that our organization's working on, and we've done a lot of projects in the past of collaborations with the town, and we really hope that this is another project we can collaborate on. So to get started, I just want to remind you of our mission, because this is one of the driving factors of why we're doing this project. Our mission is to support Fort Mill's vibrant business sector by fostering economic sustainability that's focused on a thriving community, strong education, and enhanced quality of life. And with that in mind, our subcommittee has brought this project to the board of how can we implement our mission through Fort Mill in this way. So tonight we're talking about a microtransit pilot program, and I know that kind of sounds a little intimidating, so we're going to break it down a little bit for you.
Little bitty cars, right?
Yeah. So the purpose of this program really for us is to evaluate the feasibility of utilizing a microtransit as an economic development driver in the Fort Mill area by implementing a pilot program between the major lifestyle districts in town. So to give you just a summary of what we're going to be talking about, this program, we have been working in collaboration with a service provider called Freebie, and they've done different projects, and we'll talk about some of the communities that are local that they've been working with. But really, we want to be able to utilize Freebie's microtransit program and uniquely positioned to drive economic impact by seamlessly connecting key commercial hubs for us, Baxter Village, Kingsley, and downtown Fort Mill, ensuring businesses can attract more customers while reducing congestion and enhancing mobility. This program will not only provide a convenient mobility option, but also serve as a localized community guide, actively promoting businesses and local events to riders, helping to stimulate spending and foot traffic in these targeted areas. So to give you a little bit more information of the service provider we chose to work with is Freebie. They are a company that's been serving communities since 2012 with a focus on performance, innovation, and cutting-edge technology. There's a few key features that we really felt like Freebie would be a great asset, one of them being their custom-branded mobile app. And we'll go into a little bit more in the presentation here, but this app has tracking features. It has local guides that we can post community events, exclusive deals with local businesses, public information. So that was a great asset that they have. Also, they have great advanced technology with their dynamic routing, real-time matching, and comprehensive data collection. And we'll talk a lot about data here soon, but that data is really important in how we want to drive this program with not only our organization, but our partners. Another key aspect with us being an economic organization is their focus on economic development. They have a key focus on partnering with local businesses, not only through the app, but making sure that they're aware of this program, contacting them, not just with us contacting them, but Freebie contacting them, and their focus on that economic aspect. And another key feature that we've heard, not from just Freebie, but also the local organizations we've talked to, is their sustainable and reliable service. So this program really has 4 key goals that we would like to accomplish. One being utilizing this platform as a localized community guide to drive customer traffic to Fort Mill's businesses. Second, We really want to introduce a transportation solution that serves not only our residents and visitors, but business employees by providing easy connectivity to work, shopping, restaurants, events, and nightlife access within Fort Mill. Another key goal we really want to complete is collect and analyze ridership data to evaluate the demand, optimize service, and assess the impact of microtransit to be able to provide for future investment in transportation infrastructure. And last, the goal is to transform Fort Mill into a place where you can live, work, and play without the need of a personal vehicle.
Hi, so what we have up here is a map, and I wanted to explain basically what this program is trying to solve. This is a pilot program, and my hope, my measure of success is, gosh, this is such a great program, we need to expand the boundaries. But for reasons of controlling the pilot's cost, we've identified 3 key areas, and as Mariah said, that's downtown Fort Mill, that's Kingsley, and that's Baxter. And you'll note that 2 of those are in the town limits of Fort Mill and 1 is in the county, but a lot of people think of it as part of Fort Mill, but it's kind of part of our deal is to make sure that everybody understands that we are all north of the river and we're one continuous community, whether or not we're in the town limits or not. So what this service will do is within 10 minutes of you hailing a transportation during the working hours of the pilot, a car will show up and take you to your destination from door to door. So you don't have to go to a pickup spot, you don't have to go to a station, you don't have to wait. It takes you from door to door as long as you're within the operating hours or within the map. And one of the feedback we got from businesses was, guys, don't forget about the hotels. And we did, so we had to fix that. And the hotels now are in this map. We've also picked up the hospital. And the deal here is, this is one of the, in my opinion, one of the best towns in the world to live. The 2 complaints we hear are parking and transportation and traffic. Well, this program will address both of those concerns, and that's something that I think that we as a business community want to help not only our residents, but also everybody to come visit us and to spend time with us and spend their money with us. So, really excited about what this program can mean. And I should mention, so this is it'll be a Thursday to Sunday program. It will allow you to get home if you're on the later end of it at a restaurant, you've had a glass of wine or 2. Safe transportation home. If anybody wants to ask, it is incredibly hard to get an Uber in Fort Mill. It's incredibly hard to get a taxi. So if you have a bar or restaurant in the town limits, the truth is you really can't do that and get home safely after 9 o'clock. So I'm really excited that this program is going to really fill a gap for those businesses as well.
As I mentioned, Freebie has worked with communities that are close to us. 2 of them that we've been talking to is one with South Park Community Partners. They have launched South Park Skipper last November, and this again is free door-to-door transportation. Their hours are daily 9 to 9. Most recently, Freebie with Ballantine has launched Ballantine Bolt in the Ballantine Bowl area, so a lot of bees, but on-demand transportation that's available Monday through Friday, 11 to 8. Within our research of microtransit, a key partner really has been South Park Community Partners, and they have worked with Freebie and have given us great insight as well as analysis that they've received within the 3 and 6 month overview from their performance. It's a lot of numbers, so I'll give you just here's a graph for more visual, but within the first 3 months, they had over 7,000 rides. And then you look at the 6-month analysis, they had over 16,000 rides. So it nearly doubled in just the 6 months. With their percentage of rides, it went up to 91% within the 6 months. And their age demographics, their highest usage was between 20 and 50. And so not only do we have learned from Freebie, but we have a local community that has successfully been able to use the microtransit that Freebie offers.
So how do you get a ride when you want one? Well, it's pretty simple. A lot of people are already familiar with Uber, so you'll find this very similar. You download the app, and you can arrange for a vehicle. It'll tell you how far away it is and tell it where you want to go. There'll be a nominal charge just to get people used to the fact that this isn't free. It won't be the $100 that Uber is going to charge, just something in the $2 range. It'll also give us some custom branding to let people know that they're in Fort Mill, let them know about businesses that may have specials running. That'll all be in the app. People say, well, what else can I do with the app? Well, it'll also show events. It'll show specials for restaurants that all could be potential ad revenue to help support the program. It's also interesting that there are some people that are never going to adapt an app. You can also call it or hail down one of these cars to get to your destination. So it's something for all age groups. We're also, as part of our program, planning on budgeting a marketing effort to make sure that we get this app in people's hands and we show them how to use it. I think we've learned from listening to other people that that's really important to have a successful program, and we plan to do that.
So I go back to the data collecting. A key part of why we want to do this program is to be able to share the data we learn and gather from this program to not only our partners with the town, with the county, with RFATs, anyone that's involved with transportation, but we also want to be able to share it with our businesses. They'll be able to capture who their clientele is, how long they were there, how often they visit, where do they go next. And through the Freebie app, we have access to a live data dashboard that gives us all of this data, the ridership, the request method, the fleet performance, the vehicle occupancy. All of this data we are willing and wanting to share with our partners and businesses involved.
Just to add to that, I think that whenever we're asking for public money for a program, it's important to be able to track it and prove its effectiveness. And that's why Mariah is really emphasizing that. We want to prove that this thing works. But let's do a little dreaming here. The South Park Skipper had 17,000 unique rides per month. Think about how many cars that represents, how many parking spots that represents. Just for a moment, think about what that load coming off of our parking spots and our door-to-door, those are no longer unique trips. This is public transportation at its best. So I really think that's something to point out. So how do we get this pilot program off the ground? So the pilot program for a one-year studies, which, by the way, is what we're recommending, is $407,000. The program will include 40 hours a week. It's emphasized heavily 12 hours a day on both Friday and Saturday. We're going to have some time on Thursday and also on Sunday as well to make sure we hit the lunch crowd on Thursday and then the lunch crowd and the brunch crowd on Sunday. But 12 straight hours on Friday and Saturday. So we're going to need to put some infrastructure in. These are electric vehicles. They do need charging stations overnight. They're destination 2 level charges, so very simple. It will be 3 vehicles. And what our hope here is to keep that 3 vehicles so that we can keep that call to 10 minutes or less. So what we need to do is we need to get together with the business community, which has already put their money down and said they want to be a part of this. We now need support from the town of Fort Mill to be part of that. So there is a significant ask from the town of Fort Mill to get this pilot program off the ground. We've shared that with you, some of you privately, but we think it's about a $200,000 ask from the town. We also have a fair amount of support from the county, and I believe we'll get it. But we've listened to what the community wants, and we've listened to what the business community needs, and so we're asking for your support.
And I do want to just mention one thing. With anything with transportation, we do take safety as a priority. And with Freebie, their safety is also a priority for them. With their process, with any driver, they have background checks, drug testing, medical exams. They also like to hire local drivers, so they are aware of the area, know the routes, but including and hiring, they do training, classroom instructions, on the road training, and focus on distracted driving. There's also dash cams involved in real-time alerts that are included with the program.
Yeah, the program will also have all the HR responsibilities and enforcing good order, so that's really been outsourced to the vendor, which also makes me happy. So the next steps for this program is for the town to take a position of whether or not they want to support this program, and for the county to take a position if they want to support this program. We highly recommend that we look at the year option. I think that the data will prove to us, especially what we see in our other local markets, that this is a great program and it's something that's needed. I don't know if you guys read the newspaper, but on Sunday, North Mecklenburg announced that they're doing away with their bus service and they're going 100% to microtransit. We're no longer on the bleeding edge here with this ask, but I definitely think we're in front of the curve, and I think Fort Mill deserves it.
Any questions?
For those of you that are unaware, this is David Bust, Mariah Price, and Jan Martin. They are so instrumental in the work that the economic development partners do in Fort Mill. And this particular effort has really grown over the last several years. They listen, they work hard, they contribute, and they invest, just like the businesses that come to Fort Mill. So we're very, very grateful for the effort. This is an excellent presentation. And I know I'm, for one, would love not having to look for a parking space and be dropped off at the door. I mean, what's wrong with that? I do think it would be a traffic reducer and help us with the need for parking in most every location. Council members, do you have questions for David or Mariah?
So I was fortunate enough to hear the South Park Skipper presentation, and that was very informative and a lot of energy and they're very exciting. And you think about traffic in South Park getting from one area to the other. I also think it's very important. We keep talking about trying to extend our downtown. Kingsley is definitely part of Fort Mill and is a growing area. And Baxter, even though it is a county, is still part of our community. And I think this is a good way to help supporting what we've been saying. And it's going to also, if you want to have dinner at Kingsley and then go down and have drinks afterwards in downtown Fort Mill, vice versa, or whatever it is, here's a good, safe way to do it without worrying about traffic. So, and I also saw that article in the paper of the Charlotte, and I thought that was very timely, I guess, that they had made that decision too. So thank y'all for your effort. I think it's definitely, these are the types of things we need to be looking at and investing in. It's just a pilot. And all the data, and plus you can get the partnerships and branding and all that. So long-term financing may be a totally different solution because you get other businesses to partner with you. So thank you for your time and bringing this to us.
And for clarification, you had mentioned the 3 different areas that we're dropping off at, but as far as picking up, we pick up in Massey and deliver all the way to Baxter. What does the limitations look like for the original pickup, assuming it's at a residence?
So it's not terribly clear, but in your packet, you can zoom in a little bit and see that map. I can tell you that it's certainly good feedback if the town wants to make a play to enlarge that a bit. We are cost sensitive to try to keep this pilot to get the data that we want, and not saying that we've got it perfect. So that's something that certainly we should look at if there's an area we've missed. But if you zoom in on your packet, you can blow that map up quite a bit and see the community boundaries that we grabbed.
And what have they done, some of the others, when there's special events going on? Do they still run during those events and just stay in a concentrated area, or do they take a time out or pause during that because of the traffic?
No, I think we're definitely running. We'll run to the very max until it may be a little bit longer wait if we're saying the Strawberry Festival. I'm not trying to say that's going to be the 10 minutes.
Right.
What we're trying to say for the lion's share, let's call it the 80% of the time, to hit that mark, to make sure people feel it's reliable. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I definitely can see it. That's one of our weaknesses with some of the large events, particularly for handicapped or disabled people trying to get in. Mm-hmm. And I think this can be a solution for us to try to help with that, to make sure everybody can attend our events. So
I think it's important, again, to highlight the cost per ridership. Or
yes.
The estimated cost?
So the estimated cost to the actual rider, which this is going to be subsidized by our group, the town and the county, would be $2 a ride. And so just to say that, hey, listen, this isn't free, but it's something I'm invested in to make sure that I get their safety. There will not be tipping. That's one thing the drivers will not have a need for. They pay a market wage, and the drivers are happy with it. We've heard from several other communities that they don't leave this program. Uber and Lyft drivers go back and forth all day long. These programs, they keep their drivers. They're really, really happy to be in one community. So it's a big selling point for them. We didn't mention it, but another community, Gastonia, just switched. They got rid of all of their buses and gone to microtransit, and they're doubling down. So it's just fun to watch how technology has allowed us to serve our people better.
For the drivers, is there an age minimum for somebody? I just want to make sure a 16-year-old isn't going to be driving.
Yeah, they're pretty rigorous on that, and there's a waiting list, which I found really interesting. There's a huge waiting list to be a driver for the skipper, as an example. So I think we're getting the cream of the crop for the gig drivers, if you will, and it's a job. It's not just something you're doing after work.
Perfect. Thank you, David.
David, have y'all had any conversations with any of the restaurants yet? I know we're just in the initial stages, but let's say I wanted to go to Epic and I had pick me up, drop me off. I mean, the restaurant said, hey, if you do, the restaurant could pick up that fare too. I mean, it's very flexible, the technology that does that. So
100% correct. In fact, this kind of grew out of Amor Ortiz's biggest challenge. After 9 p.m., they can't get people home. How do you stay open as a business and you serve alcohol and you can't get them home? And make no mistake, this is an economic program. And yes, I could see a lot of other benefits, including the hospital being included in that range. But this is for the business community. It's going to be supported by not only residents getting to those businesses. I mean, how many times have we passed on going to a restaurant because we just didn't want to go fight for a parking spot? Let's keep those people here in Fort Mill.
So when are you needing a decision by?
So that's a great question. We are presenting to the county in
August.
In August, yeah, so just a couple of weeks. So my hope here is to say that we have your blessing, because this is two-thirds of just the map. Let's just boil this down. Two-thirds of the area is in Fort Mill. So we need to show that our community wants this. And then I think we've got a pretty good argument. We've already had some really good support from our county council members that are in the Fort Mill area, as well as some of the others. So we need the town's support prior to that meeting to say that you're in concept or believe this is a good program for Fort Mill.
Can I please ask staff to put this on our very next agenda so that we would have an opportunity to post that we will be taking a vote, and that way if the community has any questions, they can come before us.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I did. So that the freebie program, they will own the vehicles?
So yes, that's correct. They'll be branded. As you saw, I don't know, the graphic was great on the screen, but they will be branded, and we had the Fort Mill Economic Partners brand on there. That was a placeholder for our presentation, but right. We want people to know that this is a Fort Mill transportation system. Again, they're on the hook for all of the PR and the HR and the complaints, which there were a couple of the skipper, like the driver put out a tip jar. That problem got solved in less than 24 hours. We're really, really impressed with how they react when there is an issue. So, yeah, they will be branded, and I think people will see it, and it'll be part of our, the fabric of this is our logo.
Right. But they would actually own the vehicles themselves?
Yeah, that's correct. And we would need to provide some infrastructure, some charging stations for
That's
it.
what I was going to ask, if you had any plans for, specific locations for charging stations, where their home base might be, what would need to be added?
So we would need 3 to 4 charging stations here in Fort Mill that we would need to make sure that they're during charging hours after driving all night, that those would be their spots. I get to install a lot of these. They're about $1,000 each. They're not a big expense to get the charging station set up.
Okay.
I think it's an exciting opportunity for us to consider. Certainly $2 a ride to not have to look for a parking space is amazing, or a ride home. So I just want to thank you all for the amazing work and effort that you are making to continue to grow the economic development in Fort Mill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll move to presentation number 5, Dye Branch Stream Bank Restoration presentation, and our Leanne Clark will be the one that will lead us through that.
Hi, good evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about stream bank restoration on Dye Branch. I don't know. Are we going to, am I flipping? How do I do this? Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. So if you have been out on Dye Branch at all, you have seen the erosion that's occurring there. There's a lot of it next to the walking path that runs from Walter Elijah to Harris Street Park. So we looked into this erosion and what we might be able to do about this. And we had Kimley Horn do a feasibility study for us. Why we looked into this is the severe erosion that I'm referring to. There are safety concerns in some of the areas. The erosion is getting pretty close to the walking trail. At Harris Street Park, the erosion is starting to encroach on some of the park infrastructure. We have water quality concerns with silt and sediment that washes into the creeks, and then also with some of our infrastructure that crosses the creeks, and then of course just erosion and stormwater runoff issues. So this is just a map showing where the walking trail is. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it, but it starts up at Walter Elijah and goes down to right at the start of Harris Street Park. So the next few slides are really just some pictures, because pictures show so much more than I could possibly say. But these are just some pictures of the erosion. You can see the walking path there and some of the steep drop-offs that we have starting to form from the creek. This, you can see how close the erosion is really getting up to the walking trail. It's within a couple feet at some points. Over on the right-hand side is a stormwater pipe that we had some significant erosion around that we had to address, and you can just see how it's starting to undermine the walking trail there. This is behind Harris Street Park, and you can see the fence line there and how close the erosion is starting to get to that fence line. This is a picture of some of the water quality concerns you can see during a heavy rain. This is the culvert right at the start of Harris Street Park. And you can see how the high turbidity in it from the silt and sediment that washes down from all the erosion. And then also we have some sewer line crossings. This is also right at the culvert at Harris Street Park. But this is a sewer line that crosses, and the erosion is causing that sewer line to be more and more exposed, and it's possible that that line could break, and we would not want that to happen in our creeks. This again is just some of the erosion that's occurring from the stormwater issues we have. On the left-hand side, you can see the erosion and undermining, and then on the right, you can see that we repaired that. And we're trying to fix it as best we can when these issues come up, but really we're just putting Band-Aids on them. They need a more significant solution. So this was from the feasibility study, and Kimley Horn basically broke down the study into 3 distinct areas, and you can see they're sort of outlined up there. When they studied it, they identified areas that were high priority, medium priority, and low priority. So the high priority areas, there were 6 sections of Dye Branch, approximately 1,560 feet. And these areas were identified as high priority because there's severe concerns for erosion, and they're threatening already existing infrastructure and private property. We want to reduce the risk to the adjacent infrastructure and improve water quality. And the solutions, there's kind of a variety of solutions for all of the different areas, and that's really not determined yet until a design would be identified. The medium priority, there's 5 sections of Dye Branch, approximately 2,160 linear feet. These areas have erosion concerns. They're not as significant as the high priority, and they're not located directly adjacent to existing infrastructure, but we do want to address them. And then the low priority, there were 4 sections of Dye Branch that were identified as low priority, and these totaled about 4,250 linear feet. These have some erosion concern, but they're not as significant as the high or the medium priority areas. So this is a picture to kind of show you, this is at Harris Street Park, and it's to show you down in the left. You can see there what it currently looks like, and then the larger picture is to show you what it could potentially look like after we had some string bank stabilization or restoration. This is another one. This is along the walking trail, and you can see in the bottom left-hand picture the severe erosion. It's coming up next to the walking path. It's a steep drop off, and you can see in the rendering for what it might look like, the creek itself is a little bit narrower. The banks are less steep so that the water has somewhere to rise during heavy rains, and there's some plantings on there that can withstand the saturation, and so that would help to stabilize the banks. And then this is the last one rendering. Again, you can see the severe erosion in the left hand, and then you can see what it could potentially look like after some restoration or stabilization. So some constraints that we have, there are existing utilities. There are aerial sewer crossings and some other infrastructure that could potentially be a constraint for us. There are multiple landowners and private property in some of these areas. We did look at the 2-mile stretch between Walter Elijah and down behind Harris Street Park and then behind the school, and we picked that area specifically because we own most of it, and a lot of the areas that we don't own, that the town doesn't own, the school district owns, and then there are some properties, there are a few private properties there that would require some easements. But most of that property is owned by either the town or the school. FEMA, approximately 7,000 linear feet of Dye Branch has a mapped floodway, so we would need to get permits from FEMA. And then access and topography. Because of the steep slopes, we would have to potentially, we don't know how many staging areas we would need or where we would need those, so that could be a constraint as well. And then here, Eric, you want me to keep talking about this, or?
Yes.
Okay, so this was sort of where we talked about cost. So the design, survey, and permitting is that first section. The construction would be the second. So really the totals would be over there on the far right. They're identified down the left as the high priorities, the medium, and the low priorities. It is possible to do these projects sort of piecemeal, or you could do them, you could lump them together and do them as some bigger projects instead of individually. But the costs we're looking at, oh, sorry, wrong one. The costs we're looking at down here, these are the total costs that would be looking at for the design, survey, and construction, and we're looking at just over $4 million for all of that total. But each project, you can see there, is broken down. And the low priorities, there are large sections of low priorities, and so they're a significant portion of that cost just because of how many linear feet there are of the low priorities. So here we're looking at the trail system and some potential options for working trails into this stream bank restoration and stabilization. I don't know, Eric, do you want to add into this at all?
Yes, thank you. So with this part, we've noticed that Leanne's spoken to the need for restoring the stream bank. But as you get down further south, you can see that it starts to connect multiple town facilities or parks, but also with other facilities that are either existing or planned, such as the elementary school, but then also some walking trails near the Elizabeth neighborhood, and also a future park adjacent to and on the Catawba River. So I think the next map would show that. We're not. So but this is a conceptual design here at Hare Street Park with having the stream bank cleared out, potential greenway installed, providing that connectivity between town assets. Again, the goal is when we're looking at, okay, here's the bottom part of that first map. So this is showing the Elizabeth neighborhood with the future greenways that are going to be constructed and the connectivity that you would have with potential river park, potential future town park close to the water, as well as the elementary school down there. And that's just showing what a cleaned up stream would look like close to the wastewater treatment plant. And so again, the emphasis for this is really knowing that there's a need to improve the Dye Branch stream itself, and knowing that there's this potential for connectivity with city assets, city parks. What we want to make sure is that the design and the construction of one doesn't prohibit the design and construction of the other. So we'd like to look at doing these somewhat hand in hand. So what we're looking at from council is, Leanne had showed that cost breakdown, and again, those were just estimates from the engineer, but we would like to do fewer projects, but larger in scale. We'd like to utilize some of our cash reserves to accomplish this, look at pursuing grants for trail construction, and again, trying to incorporate the trail design into the stream bank restoration design.
So does the Army Corps of Engineers have to be involved with this process at all? Or is it just farmed out private to like third-party contractors?
It depends on what the final design shows exactly, but probably.
Army Corps would have to be in the mix?
I would think so. I mean, it's
Right.
the engineers would handle all the design and any of the permitting that goes with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be getting a permit.
Right. I know pretty much any time you're dealing with wetlands, they have to be in the middle of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, some of the restoration could involve like a redesign of the stream to make it flow so it's less erosive.
Right.
And that would require an Army Corps
Okay. Thank
permit.
So 2 questions. Eric, you mentioned grants. Are there particular grants that would help fund this?
We don't have any specific programs in mind right now, but I know that our staff is adept at,
They do exist, though?
sniffing those out. There are some. When you're looking at, Penelope, the planning department has been quite active on the trail side. So I think there's probably a better opportunity for some of that with greenways and trails over there. But again, we want to make sure that the design, that it's cohabitating, I guess.
So second question is, on your slides, you had several projects. If you can go back, well, I can go back here. The question you had, do you want to do several larger projects as opposed to many small projects? So if you divided it, the high priorities, would you recommend do all the highs and then next time do all the mediums and next do all the lows? Or, I mean, what do you mean by several larger projects?
I think so yes, there were some of those projects. Can you go back to where it had the cost breakdown, that sheet, the
table.
spreadsheet?
Yeah.
The cost table.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't total up what the highs were, but the large.
No.
2 million.
I have
That's
1.1.
Right.
1.1 for high.
Right. So what we'd probably do, we need to really get the engineers' input on this. But it may be cost effective to do high, medium, and low all in one run. So we said, okay, we're going to take, half a mile here, 3/4 of a mile there, and do it all at one time. So we need to look at, are there some critical areas from a safety standpoint that have to be addressed first? And we know that there's some areas that we're like, that this needs to be addressed really, really quickly. So we just need to look at all of those aspects to kind of figure out, okay, This would be phase one, this would be phase two.
Yeah, I think it obviously, we'd like to do everything at one time, but that goes back to the grants. Or if there are other funding things that would help facilitate this, because
So
obviously-
if I can just comment on that for a second, we did the watershed study probably a year ago now or a little more. So that provided the basis for us to be able to go out and ask for these grants, because we needed a watershed study to show, where the issues are and stuff, so.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, I can just speak for myself. Obviously, this is something I think is important, but we also have a list of 50 other things that are equally important, and that's what makes, so I said grants or other things can always help. So that's,
And for clarification, this doesn't include the trails along the way too. So the trail project that we were looking at with Penelope, or is there an opportunity, again, economies of scale, if we're going to have excavators already in there, is it something that you would consider doing both?
Right. These costs are purely for the stream restoration.
Okay.
The costs are,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Are there any others on the radar that we can hit, that we'll wind up hearing about later, or is this pretty much, once we get this fixed, that's the primary concern?
For the erosion?
Right. Any other streams or anything you kind of
Yeah, we
identified?
have a lot of erosion issues, but like I said, this was the one we chose to focus on. I mean, it's very publicly used, and the town owns most of it. But we had mentioned last time that the mayor had mentioned that potentially looking at some other areas that we could do as volunteer projects where, like smaller sections where we have volunteers come out and stabilize those sections, kind of like what we did down at Harris Street Park, where we did that small section. The thing about this, just to touch on for a second, what you would choose to do is you want to do it in a section that doesn't push the problem further downstream or upstream. So you want to choose an area that's basically you have a starting and stopping point. So for this 2-mile stretch, it's a culvert to a culvert, and so it's like a good starting point and stopping point, so you wouldn't be pushing the problem anywhere else.
It's a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to add a couple of things that we discussed in the prior presentation that I think is important for the public to know. Number one, these are projects that matter because of runoff being created from parking lots and driveways and other impervious structures that for many years, when there was a need, we did that. This council has made an agreement that we will look moving forward at how do we make better decisions on what's allowed so that we can start reducing that, as well as developing a tree committee where we find replacement initiatives for people to plant more trees. Guys, this heat that we're experiencing and the types of floods that occur after the ground gets so hot and the runoff has been diverted, those are situations that we have an opportunity to work on and do things differently. I personally support that we do this because I believe that taking action now, coupled with council's decisions on how we can better say, you can't put this much square footage of asphalt, you're going to have to do some impervious or some work. That's the core reason that the stormwater vision was created by the state, so that we could better manage how that water runoff. Guys, we can't live without water. We can live without a whole lot, but we can't live without water. So I do think this is critical path work. I love what you're doing, and I'm very supportive of it. As it relates to, I'm sure it's going to come up as a budget item, I do think we need to know exactly which parts of this from an engineering perspective are critical that we do together, because I do know that you can do one thing, it can cause another problem if we don't do the simultaneous work on the second piece. So I think money's important always, but I do think that we want to get the most for our money that we possibly can in corrective action. So to your point, the ones that are high, we need to know which ones, if we didn't do them, would create a problem we don't have today. So I do think it's upon you guys to lead us in that direction, because certainly I don't know of a water engineer on my council. So I think before we can decide how to move forward, we have to kind of know which ones can be done and correlate to success, and then we do the next one. So
Leanne, would it following up on that and what you just said, would it make sense to do like first, if it was 1,500 feet, the first 300 feet, whether it's high, low, or whatever, to fix that problem? Because as you said that, yeah, we fix it here, but we still got erosion coming down here. Is that going to undermine that solution? So if we just started at one end or the other and did certain section, high, low, mediums, and then, whatever. Ideally, Eric's going to find us some wonderful grant where this is not cost prohibitive, and we can just say do the whole thing. So I'm not putting that on you, Eric, but I am putting that on
Given
you.
that we have
Eric
representation
counts
from the
grants.
state
Leanne
here.
and mine are the ones that go out and get the grants.
So I'm putting it towards you. You can just mark it off. No, but anyway, so I
delegate
think
really
we need,
well.
as the mayor said, we'd like to see options, because I do think it's very important.
It is.
But there again, we have lots of things we'd like and need to do, and it's just one of them. So how do we figure all that out, and what's the highest priorities? I think I'd like to see some action as soon as possible.
it is. It's a challenge for council to see so many opportunities and so many requests and so many dreams and desires, but our environment shouldn't be optional. It should be something that we place first. So I'm very determined that we get some of this done, if not as much as we can, and I'm very grateful for the hard work that's gone into the plan.
Thank you.
And hopefully some of this, with the correction, will prevent some of the work the group before us had to do.
Yes.
Because that's part of what happens when the water overflows. It pulls trash from other places and starts moving it. So, awesome. No, thank you.
I learned a new term while I was researching some of this, and I've been trying to figure out how I can work it in here, but I just want to say it, water goat. I thought that was a great one. I was like, if this works into it, isn't that the right term for the nets that collect the trash?
It is.
I was like, that's a great word for it, but I was like, well, now I can work this into it. So anyway,
So you're
like
our
I accomplished
official
something.
water goat of the town council. So
That's right. You're successful this
I'll
evening.
take tree hugger, you get water goat.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions for Leanne or Eric? Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to present again.
Good job.
Thank you.
Leanne, as you're walking away real quick, on the smaller projects that we have, can we start identifying those as quick as possible for small volunteer projects? We always get asked about Eagle Scout projects they're doing, or Girl Scouts that want to do something. So start working to those smaller ones so where we can post it on our website. And have
I
it
mean,
available.
mine is here listening, so she's probably already got the wheels turning as
I
you're
am
saying
sure
it.
she already has pictures and the presentation ready to roll, so.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we will.
Appreciate it,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Thank you.
Great work, guys.
Yes. All right, there are no old business items for this evening. However, we will move to new business item number 1, first reading of ordinance authorizing staff to enter into a lease agreement with the Fort Mill History Museum for the office space located at 111 South White Street. Mr. Pettit.
Thank you, Mayor. Last year, council authorized staff to lease out a vacant office space at 111 South White Street for a period of 1 year. That period being up in October, staff is coming back to council for your consideration of entering into a new 2-year lease with terms matching the terms in the prior lease, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council members, do you have any questions?
No, Mr. Pettit, I read through. I thought it was. I think it's a win-win solution. I like not having the auto renew on there, so we do come back to review each year to see if things have changed. I think there's been some nice enhancements to what was otherwise being unused. It was nice to get the broken window out. I'm glad that they did that. I think it's a kind of a win-win solution. I have no concerns about going to a 2-year term.
I agree with Councilman Wolf on that. Like I said, the improvements they've made to the facility is definitely needed and definitely improving the asset. So I'm all for the 2-year lease on that.
All right, hearing that, does someone have a motion?
I make a motion to approve first reading of new business item number 1.
I'll second.
Have a motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you. New business item number 2, consideration of approval of town hall renovations, CMAR contract amendment 001, guaranteed maximum price. Our town manager, Kerry Vargo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am pleased beyond belief to be able to present this to council this evening. Attached for your review and consideration is a guaranteed maximum price amendment to a contract that had been previously approved by this council specific to construction and renovation of our new town hall located at 205 North White Street. Construction will include construction or renovation of our new customer service area located on the, ground floor or second floor, whichever. The new permanent home of the Fort Mill Police Department and the new permanent home of this council on the top floor of this particular building. Construction timelines are consistent with what had previously been communicated to this council. Substantial completion would be expected in July of 2027. The permanent home of the Fort Mill Police Department and customer service area is expected to be completed by the end of this year. They would be expected to move in January of 2026. The guaranteed maximum price amendment is for a total dollar amount of $5,771,003.24. That includes a previously expended amount of $346,000, $346,503. Putting the balance of the construction on the police department, council chambers, and customer service at $5,424,500. The amendment does include some contingencies and allowances for some issues that we are well aware of. Flooring in the permanent police department based on the subfloor. We've bid an LVP in certain sections of that particular area of the building, not sure it's going to work, et cetera, but we know our costs will only either remain the same or go down from there, but there are contingencies for repairs, et cetera. Insurance and bonding is all industry standard. We have no concerns there. We do expect construction to begin, frankly, with council approval within the next week or so.
Council members, you're as quiet as I am.
Well, I'm ready. I
think for those that are going to watch later or are here today, these are continued renovations as we made a purchase of the building to preserve an iconic structure in Fort Mill. We knew that this facility would house the town and its operations for many years to come. But we also knew it had not been actively used for many years and would have to have some of its current condition altered and updated, not just colors and that type of work, but rather optimum efficiency and actual workspace that fit the work we would be doing here. So I'm not at all surprised that we're continuing to go about that. I, for one, will be very happy when we're finished, and be very happy to see the end product. I don't regret for a minute council's actions to purchase the building and keep it in its current state so that it didn't become a 5-story hotel or a boutique situation. I love business, but this is not something you could come in and build. This is something we needed to preserve. So I'm very proud of council's actions on that. But again, I will look forward when we're complete.
Well said. And my questions were, we didn't have the drawings. I know we've seen them before, but this will cover. I was looking through I think it's Exhibit E. It basically is the best detail you've got. So this does cover the customer service area. It does cover the police, all the secure areas, all renovations. There's not going to come back and be another list that's going to be amended to this.
No, sir.
Other than something.
Guaranteed maximum price covering the entire scope of the project.
Yeah, I actually read through the contingencies, and there's, what's not included here in Exhibit D, and I get that, but I just, I've kind of lost where we are in the project. We're in, but we're not, and it still looks like we're kind of shoehorned into the building, and I know we need the customer service area and get them moved over. I just want to make sure when we make a decision that this is all, we're all in. This is everything. This is the exact maximum price.
Correct.
I concur. I am accustomed in my previous life to working to a milestone schedule type of work where you set the beginning and the end point that you hope to arrive at or plan to arrive at, and you see those in stages. We've been kind of doing this a bit. The fishtailing is nauseating to me, but I do concur with Councilman Wolf that it will be good to get this completion schedule solidified.
Yeah, and we certainly have a project schedule that once final permitting is complete, we'd be happy to share that with you.
Okay.
What work will not be complete as of the end of next year? So you mentioned there's another 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, so they will begin construction within the next week or so. That construction concurrently will include construction of the police department as well as the customer service area. Once the police department moves from the top floor of this building down into their permanent home, which is expected January of '26, they then go upstairs and start to build out the permanent home of council. So we would expect to have you folks relocated to the top floor of this building in July of '27. I'm sorry, 26.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, 26, I'm sorry. There's no 27 involved in this project. It's
That's
July of
good.
26.
That's good.
I was wondering.
Already.
My apologies.
We just saved
I'm
6
way
months.
out.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no wonder you guys were all looking at me like that.
Yeah.
July of 26.
Okay.
It's February, it's January of 26 for the police department and customer service, July of 26. The entire substantial completion date is roughly, it's just over 365 days.
So a year from now, we will be done.
Correct.
Hallelujah, because we had a giant.
I'm not quite sure why, I
We
didn't know
all
why the
went
mayor
to
was
here.
looking at me like that.
We were all
Now
looking
you
around.
know.
Now I know.
me like that.
Now I know.
Okay, everybody here, July 2026.
Yeah,
Living
write it on the wall.
Yes, goodness. All right, are there any further questions for Carrie on our schedule to complete this building? Hearing none, need a motion.
I was going to say real quick, can we be sure to get an update quarterly on this project? You know, we've asked for our capital projects to get at least a quarterly update on what the
We
status
expect to
and
give you updates more frequently than
that would
quarterly.
be awesome. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
the citizens would love to hear the progress and what's
Yep.
going on.
That would actually be very good to keep public communications of where we are, because we hear those questions a lot.
Yeah,
Yes, we
happy
do.
to.
That'd be great.
Yes, we do. Need a motion?
Make a motion to approve new business item number 2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you so much.
Hold their feet to the fire, Carrie.
All right, I'm assigning that to you. All right, new business item number 3, request to approve a facade improvement grant for 219 Main Street, Suite 101. Penelope, welcome.
Welcome. Mayor, Council, good evening. The town of Fort Mill has developed and implemented a facade grant, improvement grant program to encourage reinvestment in and revitalization of the downtown commercial district. This program allows the town to reimburse the recipient 50% of all eligible expenditures up to a maximum of $5,000 to help offset the cost of exterior improvements to a property owner or tenant's commercial building. This grant requires a minimum match equal to or greater than the total grant amount. In this instance, the application indicates that the allotted funds would be applied toward the cost of a projecting sign along with new window and door signage. The applicant did receive a certificate of appropriateness from the Town of Fort Mill Historic Review Board for this signage on June 10th of this year. They did follow the requirements of providing staff the 3 required vendors for this project. The minimum projected project cost was the $3,630.98 for the signage. And also we add the actual $250 for the application, which was a total of $3,880.98. This grant amount requested for tonight, it's $1,940.49. The amount requested is based upon the town's facade improvement grant guidelines, which indicate that for projects under $10,000 in value, the applicant shall be eligible for a 50% reimbursement. A committee that includes myself, Senior Planner Alex Moore, Ken Jackson, the building official. We met on June 25th. We reviewed the application. The applicant is eligible for this grant, and I'm just here tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
I'm thrilled to see somebody using the facade grant because I think it's critically important as we work to make the downtown corridor continue to grow and continue to be updated. I saw the rendering. It's very nice looking. We love the businesses that are coming downtown and we want to support them. So it's a great initiative that was brought to us by somebody in the audience that works really hard. And we're just grateful that that exists so that our businesses can gain some encouragement in moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I was glad to see the process of how it went through historic review, your committee, every I's dotted, every T's crossed. The only question I had was, I understand they're going to have some vinyl logos on the windows. Is that part of the facade grant too, or is it just the sign?
It's both of it. It's the sign, the projection sign, and the word graphics on the windows and doors.
But it was just nice to see how y'all went through the process and everybody got it. That's great. I think it's a great thing.
I do too.
And we do urge other business community, partners downtown Main Street that we do have the facade grant. Each year, I believe we are funded about $15,000 in the planning department for people to come out and apply for these grants.
Love it.
You said one of my favorite words, partner.
Yes.
Now, how often does that actually get used? How much of that $15,000 usually gets
Well, here
appropriated?
recently, we really, the last time we used this was in May of 2022.
So not nearly
Not enough.
often
No,
enough.
not nearly enough.
Do we have an estimate of when this business will be opening? Timing?
They're going through the upfit process. They've got their permits and they're going through the construction
Yeah,
process.
they got signs on in the windows now, temporary signs in the windows now, so.
Well, and I'd like to ask staff to make sure we communicate out this business is opening, but more so the fact that they've taken advantage of this grant
agreed.
for us and
100%.
really talk to the opportunity for other business owners in the area to be able to use it.
Sure.
Well, this is only one of the few tools, I mean, we don't recruit industry, but of support that we can, add the Bailey bill, but we approved that not long after you became mayor. And that really spurred that locking it in the tax value at 20 years prior to redevelopment of a building, and then the Bailey bill on top of, and the facade improvement on top of it. We've done, this council and people that are no longer sitting with us as well, give Trudy and Jamie and Larry Huntley some credit. They've supported these programs as well, and the businesses here in town. So good job, everyone.
I'm excited to have another fitness business there on Main Street. We had one before that was very successful for a long time, so I'm glad to bring it back.
Yeah, we are doing very well with diversity of different businesses on Main Street.
Good point.
Excellent.
Is there anything that would have them leave that sign? Should they leave in several years since the town is, kind of partnered?
They're not leaving. They're going to be wildly successful.
Well, I agree. Maybe they'll move on to something bigger and better, but.
Well, again, if say a business downtown is vacant and, the sign's there, the new business owner could come through this process again and get the 3 estimates and replace the projecting sign with their business logo. So we could still help the new business, as they're moving into the new tenant space.
Right.
All right. I need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve new business item number 3.
I'll second.
And I have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Just excellent.
Thank you, Penelope. for
Yes.
All you continue to do. Your name pops up on just
doing it
about
right.
every action item.
All right. We now have a committee report for the Ad hoc Appointments Advisory Committee recommendation for Planning Commission candidate. Councilman Helms will guide us through that step.
On Monday, January the 21st, 2025, the Ad hoc Appointments Committee met and made a recommendation to fill a vacant position for the Planning Commission by recommending Jonathan Hutchinson to serve on the Planning Commission.
We had a vacancy that occurred on our planning commission. That vacancy occurred because of someone's living arrangements, and, we do want the people that serve on that committee. They're all volunteers, and we love them dearly for the hard work that they put in, but they do need to live in our community. The ad hoc committee reviews all volunteer recommendations and anyone that's interested in a seat on one of those committees, and we certainly do continuously look for those that have a background in that area, and we try to make sure that we find balance across the community. They're not all in one location. So Penelope supports us in a huge way in making sure we know and giving the information to us so that we can make a decision. Does anyone have any question about this appointment?
I make a motion to accept the appointment, the recommendation of the advisory committee as submitted.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you so much. There are no further information discussion items, and there are no executive session items. So with very little further ado, does anyone have anything they want to mention for the good of the whole, other than, great Scott, it's hot outside. Please be careful and say prayers daily for our staff that work out on the hot roads and do the things that they do to keep our town working and our citizens served. I would not want to be a person that had to do that. I wouldn't make it an hour. So please continue to keep our police, fire, public works, rec programs, keep them all in your thoughts and prayers, please.
It was a great meeting with things that are across the community that affected all of us and the kind of the welfare of the town in general. Special thanks to Chuck. I know he had to take off, but really appreciate that as a product of the Fort Mill School District. Class of '86, proud of that, and the work that they have all done as a school district and the partnership that was mentioned there before, and keeping our real estate values high. So but no, appreciate all that he's done and everyone at the school district. So
I will say for me, kind of throwing back, it's neat to see how everything came together for me here of how I was raised in the community and grew up. And I actually, in high school, did an internship with the Fort Mill School District where Dr. Epps at the time had been a principal. And was just starting in his career. And so that gave me the encouragement. I hate Ms. Brackett left, but I did an internship many years ago, not as many as you, but many years ago. And then that has gone into continuing public service and continuing to work in the community. So it's a great place to live, and I'm very blessed to live here.
Hearing that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.